RCE Cymru is a network of all the universities of Wales that are involved in the Higher Education Future Generation Wales group. That used to be a group that was dedicated to education for sustainable development and global citizenship, which was a bit of a mouthful. But since the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act came into being, we decided to rename ourselves the Future Generations Group. We met 4 times a year and eventually asked the question, why are we meeting? What is the point? We don't want to just exchange minutes and do nothing. So we looked at the 5 ways of working. What is the long-term vision that we have? How can we prevent inertia? How can we prevent just sitting around? How can we collaborate? How can we integrate the Sustainable Development Goals into what we're doing? And who should we involve and who should we get involved? And as it happened, Wales had an RCE, which is a regional centre of expertise, which was not very active. And we were challenged, well, why don't you reactivate it?
This circle of interest is around education for sustainable development and global citizenship. It's not just an orbit for higher education academics. We want to include people who work in teacher training, in schools and in third sector, as well as those involved in the wellbeing of future generations, so we can really look at how we might develop some ideas around teaching and learning that can be used by people from across different sectors within Wales.
The aim of the Circle of Interest as social prescribing is quite a new one that's been developing, but is certainly got a high profile across all of Wales from a policy perspective. The aim really from the RCE is to provide a platform for collaboration on a wider scale, particularly engaging in university civic missions and being around the table to tackle some of these really difficult and challenging problems. It's to develop a new model of health and well-being moving forward that really connects people and communities to the social and community assets that we have, rather than just relying on the primary care model, which can't be sustained for the future.
Mae'r cylch yma yn un sy'n canolbwyntio ar bwnc iaith a diwylliant. Mae hynny'n deillio ar ffaith fod Deddf Llesiant Cenedlaethau'r Dyfodol yn cynnwys dyfodol lle mae'r Gymraeg yn ffynnu a diwylliant Cymraeg yn ffynnu yn un o'i nodau llesiant canolog. Ac felly bwriad y cylch gorchwil yma yw dod â ymchwilwyr academaidd a ymarferwyr gwahanol ynghyd i feddwl ynglyn â sut y gallwn ni gyfrannu drwy drafodaethau i hybu'r fath na o amcanu'r dyfodol.
Well, the main thing is we want to get people who need to comply to the Act involved in the group. So I want to stress again, it's not just about higher education academics. And the intention is that we can develop training material potentially that can be used across different sectors within Wales that supports learning and teaching around the Sustainable Development Goals.
The impact of sharing the knowledge really is about building the evidence base and the research to really move away from putting money in the wrong places and resources in the wrong places and putting them more on the preventative side of things, of which social prescribing is very much leaning to. It's also about building capacity and capability through education, sharing and learning through communities of practice, and making sure we drive the changes, particularly behavioural changes and leadership changes that we need in order to work across systems and sector boundaries to deliver a model that works for the future.
Wel, heddiw oedd y tro cyntaf i ni ddod at yn gilydd I drio cynllunio'r cylch yma. Felly mewn ffordd mae'n ddechreuadau cynnar a dyn ni'n awyddus I fod yn siarad efo gwahanol gyrff cyhoeddus ynglyn â be fydd y rhwydwaith a'r cylch yma o rhwydwaith yn gwneud a hefyd efo academyddion eraill. Felly mae'n amser cynnar. Ond yn y pen draw, be dyn ni'n gobeithio ydy byddwn ni'n gallu sicrhau bod ymchwil yn cael ei gyfathrebu mewn ffordd sy'n berthnasol I bobl sy'n gweithio mewn cyrff cyhoeddus. A bod ni'n trio pontio'n fwy rhwng ymarferwyr polisi, falle bod nhw'n ymarferwyr polisi sy'n ymwneud â'r Gymraeg o ddydd I ddydd, ond hefyd ymarferwyr polisi sy'n gweithio mewn meysydd eraill, ond lle mae'r Gymraeg yn berthnasol iddyn nhw ac yn gorgyffwrdd â be maen nhw'n wneud. A gobeithio creu mwy o gyfle I dynnu sylw at falle bod angen rhoi mwy o ystyriaeth I oblygiadau ieithyddol rhai o'r penderfyniadau neu sut mae penderfyniadau yn effeithio ar iaith.